The San Francisco 49ers think they found the missing piece to their already ferocious defensive front. But here's the burning question. Can they succeed with Bryce Huff where the Philadelphia Eagles completely failed? Or did the 49ers just inherit a $51 million disaster in disguise? Let's rewind. Just a year ago, the Eagles handed Huff a jaw-dropping 3-year, $51.1 million contract. At that moment, Philly believed they were paying for a rising star, a game-wrecking edge rusher who could solidify their defensive front for years. But what went wrong? Why did Huff's dream contract turn into an unmitigated nightmare in less than 12 months? Think about it. How often does an NFL team pay that much money for a free agent only to give up on him so quickly that they eat most of his salary just to ship him off? Is this more proof that Huff was a bust? Or is there something deeper about the Eagles organization that nobody is talking about? In a recent interview on YouTube, Bryce Huff didn't hold back. He admitted something shocking. He wanted out of Philadelphia almost immediately after arriving. He said, "If I'm being 100% honest with you, I wanted to trade like fairly early on. Because of how things went in Philly, I knew pretty early on it wasn't a fit." Wait a second. Let's break this down. Huff signed a massive contract, stepped into a Super Bowl caliber roster, and still felt it wasn't a fit? Did Huff give up too early, or was Vic Fangio's scheme so toxic that no edge rusher could thrive in it? And here's another question. If Huff sensed he didn't fit the Eagles' defense so early, why didn't he fight to prove himself as a versatile player? Isn't that what elite pass rushers do? Or does this quote reveal a fatal flaw in his mentality, that he's quick to run instead of adapting and overcoming? Now let's be real. Huff had one standout season with the Jets in 2023. One season. That's it. And suddenly the Eagles crowned him a cornerstone of their defense. Was this a colossal miscalculation by Philly's front office? Did they buy into hype instead of substance? Huff only started 6 games for the Eagles in 2024. 6! And in those appearances, he recorded a measly 2.5 sacks. Did Philly misuse him, or was Huff simply exposed as a one-dimensional player? Here's where it gets even more damning for Huff. Vic Fangio, a defensive mastermind who's built elite units for years, didn't trust him enough to start regularly. Fangio relegated Huff to passing downs as a designated edge rusher. Even in that specialized role, he was ineffective. So whose fault is it really? Fangio's for failing to unleash him, or Huff's for not elevating his game? Let's not sugarcoat this. Huff is a liability against the run. Everyone knows that. But shouldn't a $51 million edge rusher still find a way to impact games as a pass rusher? Or are we learning that Huff is just a flash-in-the-pan player who cashed out at the perfect time? Now he's with the 49ers, a team notorious for squeezing every ounce of production out of defensive linemen. Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, and Javon Hargrave have thrived in the system. But will Huff rise to their level, or will he crumble under the weight of comparisons? Huff says the Eagles scheme didn't fit him. Fine, but here's a tough question. If he couldn't thrive in Fangio's scheme, how do we know he'll adapt to San Francisco's? Steve Wilks isn't exactly known for coddling underperformers. Think about the mental side of this too. Huff admitted that by mid-season last year, he had already talked to his agent about demanding a trade in the offseason. Does this reveal a player willing to quit when things get tough? Or is it simply the sign of a professional recognizing a bad situation and planning an exit? The 49ers believe they can unlock Huff's potential, but let's play devil's advocate. What happens if Huff underwhelms again? Will the 49ers cut ties quickly, or will they double down and try to salvage their investment? There's also a bigger NFL-wide question here. Are we in an era where teams are overpaying for pass rushers based on one breakout season? Is Bryce Huff the poster child for cautionary tales about free agency?
And let's talk about character. Eagles fans were furious when they heard Huff's comments. They're asking, did we just pay this guy generational wealth only for him to mentally check out in year one? Does Huff owe the Eagles an apology, or is this just the brutal honesty of a modern NFL player? Here's something that should scare 49ers fans. Huff has had one good season out of 5 in the NFL. 1! Are the odds stacked against him breaking out in San Francisco, or will this new environment finally unleash his talent? Meanwhile, Philadelphia has moved on. They've cleared Huff's contract off their books and reloaded their defensive front. But here's the kicker. What happens if Huff explodes for 10-plus sacks this season in San Francisco? Will Eagles GM Howie Roseman look like a fool, or will fans forgive him for cutting bait so quickly? And what about the 49ers locker room? They're coming off another gut-wrenching Super Bowl loss. This team is in win-now mode. Will Huff fit into that intense culture, or will his Philly baggage follow him into Santa Clara? Let's not forget, the Eagles were so desperate to move on from Huff that they agreed to pay most of his salary for 2025. What does that say about how badly they wanted him gone, and does it suggest the 49ers are inheriting a locker room problem? Or maybe, just maybe, Huff is exactly what the 49ers need, a talented, hungry pass rusher with a chip on his shoulder. Could this be his redemption arc, the story of a player who silences doubters and rewrites his legacy? One thing's for sure, this season will define Bryce Huff's career. He'll either become a Pro Bowl pass rusher and make the Eagles regret their decision, or he'll fade into obscurity as another cautionary tale of wasted talent. So, here's the million-dollar question for you. Did the 49ers just make the move of the offseason, or did they inherit Philly's $51 million mistake? Is Bryce Huff about to save his career, or will 2025 expose him once and for all?